Hey guys, welcome to the show. This is the Just Go For It podcast. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Pearson. Today is a special show. We have a special guest, Michael, here from the CEO of Infinit Nutrition. I mentioned that in a previous podcast, how I was recently admitted to their athlete program and their team. So he's going to introduce himself and kind of go a little bit about what the company is like.
First of all, thanks for having me. Congratulations on being part of the team. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. My name is Michael Folan. I started Infinit about 15 years ago. My athletic background is that I was a hockey player, lacrosse player, college, didn't do anything for probably 10 years, and then saw Alcatraz on television and thought that triathlon looked perfectly obsessive compulsive for me.
Okay.
It was, I went and bought a bike, and I never swam a lap in my life, and off I began in my triathlon career. So I did that from kind of late 80s through 2004 was my last triathlon I did, was Hawaii down in Florida, in Kona. So that was a good one to end it off. So I really haven't done much racing in a long time. All of my efforts and everything are really devoted to Infinit. You only got so much gas in your tank, so
Right.
it tends to be business oriented.
Yeah, I imagine it's kind of a consuming thing to run a company of this size and keep it going fluently.
It is, and it's not. We're still a small company. I mean, we've got 15 employees. We're in process of. We found a partner in Europe, which is a big deal for us. Is that we do produce product out of Canada and Australia, the U.S. obviously, and now I found a great partner going to be operating out of Prague and then working into Europe starting next year. So that's really exciting. But it does to do anything well, especially in a competitive marketplace. As a small company, I'm competing against some really big companies out there.
Yeah.
So you have to do things differently. You got to be small. You got to act small. You got to be mobile. You got to be creative. You got to poke the bear. I mean, you got to do kind of all that stuff in order to, get yourself up at the top of the page, so to speak. So it's a ball. I have a great time doing what I do. I love who I work with. I'm really lucky to be, it's great. I work with athletes, and people like what we do. So it makes it for a really comfortable way to go through your day, for sure.
Yeah. And I guess just for the sake of the show, for anyone who doesn't know what Infinit Nutrition is, you would say it's primarily a sports nutrition company, right?
Yeah, it is. We're trying to kind of expand out of that. But what Infinit started is as an athlete. And I don't care if it's a runner, triathlete, cyclist, hockey, walking, it doesn't matter. Nutrition is complicated. And if you can simplify it down, you're going to perform better. So the original concept was that no two athletes are the same, no two sports are the same, which is absolutely true.
Exactly.
And, and what we do is create customized nutrition solutions made to the individual or for the sport or both. And that concept resonates with virtually anybody that I speak to. I mean, all I have to do is you don't need any gels or food, and you can go do a 6-hour bike ride. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah. And so we've been doing it for 15 years. And it's like, that's not a big deal anymore. It's, the whole industry has kind of moved in that direction. I do think that we're probably a big part about, is that simplicity message that, that you don't have to eat solid food. There's not many people eating solid food on any events much shorter than 12 hours right now. You go over 12 hours, food, multi-day food, but typically under 12 hours, most people are straight liquid. And I think a lot of that's Infinit and some other companies that have really pushed the boundaries nutritionally about what we're able to do for athletes.
Okay. Actually, that's touching on one of the points I was going to ask about later. If it was always a customizable option. And it sounds like that's what you guys have been doing from the start, is always making it customizable so it's athlete specific, because we're all different.
Yeah, it's just there's a huge variance between a female that's, 104 pounds that's training for a 5K. That's track workout, speed workout, hours not, it's not going to be a 6-hour workout
Right.
versus 240-pound Ironman guy. The whole concept of, hey, my powder is the best is just stupid. Yeah, it's great. I mean, there's good products out there. We're lucky now. 20 years ago, there weren't good products out there. Now we've got fairly good, solid stuff, but they all do the same thing the same way, which is you've got to do a system of drinks and gels and bars and salt pills. And it's brutal to do a science experiment when you're trying to do whatever, paddle, hike, bike, I don't care. It's just difficult to do. So, we like to think of ourselves as that, the company for idiots. I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just like, we're the company for knuckleheads. Like, it's really hard to screw what we do up. Just drink your stuff and do your thing. That's about it.
I personally am a big fan of simplicity, and it sounds like that's how you guys are operating as well. Just, mix this drink it once per hour, and you're good to go.
Done. And you don't even have to have any type of, knowledge. I have kind of at this point of not a true PhD, but pretty close as far as nutrition goes, and what works and what doesn't, and what the solution. There's properties with osmolality and isotonic solutions, so I've got a pretty good idea. But not everybody does. And I have nutritionists here that literally you can just schedule a consult. One of my guys will call you. You don't have to know anything, and we'll set it up, and it's all still got a money back guarantee. So it's that small company kind of family. If you call this place, you can talk to me. That's fine. My phone's always available. We do treat our customers more like clients than we do customers. Does that make sense to you? Because really we're more a service company than I am a product.
That makes sense.
Yeah, we provide a service where we can do customized fuel or customized protein, either one of those, and dial it exactly how you want. Taste, calories, everything, right down to it, help you design it. And so then when you're done, it's life gets pretty simple, and I don't lose customers. That's the other thing. My retention rates, because we treat people well and they like doing business with us and what we do works, we just don't lose people, which is awesome. It's really good. All these people I see at the expos all the time, I've seen some of these people ordering from me for over 10 years. It's crazy.
Well, I think that's actually a better way to run a company, is more service-based than customer-based. So that way you can kind of create long-term, relationships with different people and kind of help them grow and change. And then of course on their journey, their goals are going to change as well. So Personally for me, I'm training for triathlon, the sport of triathlon, with my end goal to make it to Kona and to do well. So of course, when I make that goal and I complete it, my training's going to change. So I'll have to change my nutrition, and having the availability to do that, to, have a phone call, have a sit down with somebody and understand, okay, well, my needs have changed now because I'm not training as intensely. Having that option there is really helpful, and it's going to make me want to actually stay. And I see that that's what you've done there.
Yeah, that, and the fact that you just get bored after a year or two. I mean, so whether it's just getting bored of orange, okay, fine, flip it to fruit punch or go to lemon lime or do mocha or whatever. Or, there's other ways that we can tweak things to really freshen the product where you're never going to get tired of it. And that's typically, most people don't. It's pretty neutral. So it's salty. Our stuff tends to go down really well, even when it's really hot. And even when you've been going for a long, long time, it still goes down good.
Nice.
But yeah, it's good. We haven't had to change the platform, the actual website platform, the sliders, the system that we set up from day one has not really changed that much. So we did a pretty good job, I think, early on of getting Infinit kind of put in the right place. And I am proud of the fact that a lot of the industry has moved towards us. So I'm not having to adapt. I am a little bit, but other companies are definitely adapting towards what we're doing.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. So probably about 2 months ago, I had first heard about Infinit, and before that, I didn't know it was an option to have customizable supplements. I didn't know that was a thing. And then discovering that you guys do that, that just makes the most sense to have that availability. I think a couple days ago, maybe 3 or 4 days ago, I was on your website. I just purchased the sample pack, so it has a whole different variety of things, which I'm really looking forward to getting into. But I'm actually more excited about once I try something, I can think, okay, well, do I want the flavor to be different, or I want a little less caffeine, or a little bit more salt, or a little bit more, whatever else is in it, and kind of tweak those numbers to really make it fit well with me. And I think that is such a huge pull.
Yeah, it seems like, there are people that have a whole bunch of formulas, but most people kind of have, like two base formulas. One is their endurance mix. So that's the one, Saturday, Sunday, you're going out with, the group and you're riding for 3, 4, 5, whatever. So you've got that sort of all-in-one fuel that's got a tiny bit of protein. And as you know, the whole reason why we use protein in a drink is to keep you from getting hungry. It's ergonomic. It's an appetite suppressant. That functionally, there's not been a lot of great research that shows that protein during exercise helps you with recovery. Protein after, within 30 minutes, helps you with recovery, and that's critical. But during, there's not a lot of science that shows there's any real, technical reason to take protein during. Why we do it, and we use a whey isolate. It's grass-fed, Irish, uber high quality, and you can't hardly taste it, and it doesn't change. It just gives it a little bit of something where you can drink it for 4 or 5 hours and never get hungry. And it's a weird thing to not get hungry. First time you do it, it's kind of like operating without a net. You got 2 bottles and you got some powder in your pockets, and you're going for a 5-hour ride, and you're going, wait, I have no bars, I have no gels, I have nothing. I have $5 and some powder. I'm ready to go. And it works. And I have had, high-end Tour de France, pro guys ask me if I have an appetite suppressant in our stuff for that exact reason, that they can go do a 5-hour ride and not feel like they're going to chew their arm off. And it's protein's a significant thing. It's the one, what we do is different than anybody else, but it truly differentiates our GoFar product than Tailwind, Scratch, all those salt and sugar hummingbird formulas. They just don't have enough to carry you for the long stuff. So you gotta eat, and with GoFar you don't. So it's cool.
Nice. I think that was in the pack. I'll have to try that one on my next long ride. So
you'll love it.
Potentially tomorrow. We'll see. See how I feel. Well, then that brings me to another question that I'd had. So with being a supplement company and nutrition and food and kind of that sport realm, with COVID-19, that recent wave of the pandemic, has that really affected your company as a whole, or with it being all, of course it's online, but did you guys really take a hit with the pandemic when that kind of ramped up, or not really?
Oh yeah, no, there's no escaping the tidal wave of this effing thing. So think about it this way: we service 2 kind of distinct populations. The people that are training, but a lot of people use this for race fuel. There are no races. Yeah. So you take that, the fuel that it takes for the 50 Ironman and half Ironman, the cyclocross stuff, all the road. We're big into IndyCar and a lot of the road racing, all the gravel races. So all the product that would have been used at all of those events, and we're, if not the top product out there, certainly one or two. It's just a big number. So this year, the number of users is way off, but kind of we're managing to be flat year over year, which is incredible. And I've got a great staff. I've managed not to have to, I've managed to keep the boat not rocking. Everybody's still here and everybody's happy. We've had a good couple of weeks. My staff is going to have a nice Christmas, but it's been from the management perspective, it's been really hard dealing with it. It forces you to, because you've lost a lot of avenues that are typical of how we market. no event marketing, no sampling possibilities, can't get into retailers. It forces you to move in different directions. So we've had to go hard into Amazon. We've had to go hard into Custom Protein, which is the new platform that we've launched that's going to allow us to work with a lot more strength athletes. Triathletes they're basically carby people. They're all about the carbs.
Yeah.
The whole strength side, which is all protein. I need to get the triathletes and the endurance guys to be thinking about the recovery a little bit more. So it's just you have to change. You have to be mobile. You can't be stagnant. You truly have to just be able to pivot on a dime. And I think we've learned a lot. I think it's going to make me a lot stronger going into next year.
Okay.
I think there's going to be some reshifting as far as who comes out of this thing unscathed. There's certain parts of the industry that are doing great. The bikes, the tires, the wheels, the pedals, all the stuff that, people are going out and riding bikes. The nutrition side's gotten whacked pretty bad. For whatever reason, you haven't gotten the pull along from the big wave of new bike sales for all these people that want to go out and get fit. There hasn't been yet that, being caught up in the wake of that is not transpired on the nutrition side. So the quicker that we can get to next spring with a vaccine to make sure that we're taking care of the people that need to be taken care of. But, one thing I'd like to say is that, we're lucky that we're some of the fittest people in the world. We don't, thankfully, have a lot of the issues that go along with COVID. And so, we as fit, strong, athletic people have the ability to go out there and lead the charge to getting back to some normalcy because we're super, 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 super low risk. So I'm hoping that everybody supports their local race directors out there, that I'm hoping that we as athletes aren't fearful going into next spring, because believe me, guys, these race directors are getting hit so much worse than anybody else. So we as athletes, if we want racing, if you want to go do triathlon, if you
Right.
want to have races, we have to support our race directors this spring. So forget about nutrition. Go sign up for your local race and make sure that you're doing it. Go to 5Ks, go to a gravel race, go to triathlon, go to a mountain bike race, support these local race directors. Because if not, we are not going to have racing in a couple of years. And I don't want to have people's paranoia about things ruin a sport that we all love. And we all have to, do our part, and that's supporting the local, because the race directors, without races, we don't have a sport. And I think it's really important.
Yeah, I agree. So I just want to touch on a few things you said. Personally, in where I live in Michigan. I think actually you guys are in Ohio, I think.
Correct.
Yeah, so just a bit north.
Yeah, we play state. We play state this weekend, in case you're wondering.
Oh, that'll be
the Buckeyes play Michigan State. It'll be fun.
that'll be a good game to watch.
Yes.
So I do try to participate in a lot of the local events, like the races and the 5Ks and gravel rides. The biggest one that one of my goals for next spring is the Grand Rapids Triathlon. Unfortunately, it was canceled this past year in 2020 for the COVID. Did a virtual version of that, and that was interesting. It was kind of fun to do that I did it through Zwift, and I did some of it just on my own and recorded it and sent them the files. So, and I think that that's interesting that a lot of places are trying to do the virtual, the e-cycling or e-sports kind of thing. And I don't think it's quite the same. People are still buying bikes, but I think you look at nutrition a little differently when you're home, because you have your house, you've got your kitchen, you have everything you need that you can have at your desk or wherever you're deciding to ride at. And I think if people could make that transition from still having the sports nutrition, still using Infinit or another, whatever it would work out to be, to still use that while at home, that could really turn that tidal wave, like you were saying, into still using the supplements.
Yeah, I think the reality is, though, we need to get back to normal, or it's not going to happen. I mean, I don't mean to be a realistic, but I just don't. I don't. I was down at Ironman Florida. Um, Ironman did a phenomenal job. I will say it. I've gotten sideways with Ironman a bunch of different times, but compliments to MDOT and what they were able to do down at that Florida Ironman. It was safe. It was efficient. They made the athletes feel safe and protected. It was really well done. And I mean that. The problem is, from a vendor standpoint, nobody wants to be in the expo. Nobody wants to talk to you. We're all masked up. And so, they were taking temperatures going into the expo, which was cool. If it was me, I wouldn't have had, I mean, I understand why, because they had to prove that they could do it, and they did.
Right.
But from the athlete's perspective, from the vendor's perspective, I wouldn't do that again, just because it's expensive and I didn't get to talk to that many people. From the athlete's perspective, I really question whether not having family members at the finish line is a deal breaker. Just deal breaker. That's why you train, is to have your folks there at the finish line to celebrate with.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so that's the virtual thing. I mean, I think it's really good short term, but in no way, shape, or form is that going to be something that's going to keep our sport healthy. It could be additional, it could be a supplement, but virtual racing is not the same as going out. We all want to be outside. I mean, I think that's the main thing we get from all of our focus groups, is that the feeling that everybody wants to have is outside on a spring day. We want to be outside breathing, air, and whatever it is we're doing, we want to be out. And so the virtual thing, I think it's necessary and important, but we got to get back to racing next spring, big time.
I agree. And personally, I use Zwift, the platform Zwift, quite a bit.
Awesome.
I've been using that obviously through the winter, and it's a really great in the sense of it's a supplement to physical fitness and to cycling.
Yep.
But it's hard to compare riding inside versus riding outside, and you feel the sun and you feel the wind, and it's just a whole different experience.
Mm-hmm.
To try to compare the two, I don't think it's a fair comparison. So
no, it's got, indoors, certainly, if you can do it, and it's phenomenal as far as what you're able to accomplish in a pretty relatively short amount of time. But again, the reason why I do this sport is for camaraderie, people being outside on a nice day, riding up hills on my bike. I mean, that's why I do it. And I do think that you make a great point. It's the fact that if you're at the house, you got stuff around, you're good. You're pretty much on your own if you're out there. So
yeah,
nutrition gets more critical.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Okay, a couple more points. There is an athlete program, at least I think, if I understand it right, there's an athlete kind of coaching program through Infinit. Can you enlighten me a little bit more on that?
It's not a coaching program. We don't. We very intentionally don't. We nutritionally will help anyway, anybody, anytime, no problem. Coaching, we don't really get into that. We work with probably 150 to 200 clubs, and double that as far as number of coaching groups that we work with. And so I try very hard to be Switzerland. I tell the coaches that I am another tool in your tool chest. Use Infinit to create custom mixes for your clients. They're going to be happier. You're going to have better customer retention rates. That's what I tell the coaches. So if I got into competition against my coaches, I just don't think it would be good long-term for the relationships. And I've, had pretty incredible relationships with coaches, from Joe Friel to Mark Allen, Jeff Devlin, guys that go way back to like the old days of triathlon. It's been those relationships that we've had have been key. So I don't want to jeopardize those in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, makes sense. So then I guess the athlete programs, are those just what does that entail, I guess?
So we have a team, which is almost 900 people right now. So that are racing in full Infinit kit. And this has been going on for 2 years. AJ Baco has actually helped us build that. He's been terrific. So our Team Infinit is a social team. It's a support team, especially with all the COVID. We went from, 400 to 875 in a year, because we do a really good job of keeping everybody, energized, and it's fun and it's positive, and we provide a lot of content for those folks. So it's more camaraderie. So that team gets you a discount, but it's more, it's just a team to be a part of, and it's a really fun group of folks. So we've got that, and then we've got more of a performance team that you have to apply and actually be approved for. That's more of a performance team. But we also have ambassadors out there that, if you just want to have, if you like Infinit and you find yourself always telling people, which typically happens, one person in the group will do Infinit, and then 4 or 5, because they all like, how come you're not eating? What are you doing? Well, I'm drinking Infinit. Well, it's Infinit. Da, 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 da. So that's the way that typically happens. So if you're telling somebody, you can become an ambassador, and then anytime you just give them your discount code, which we give you as an ambassador, and then anytime anybody uses that discount code, you get $5. So then if you're a person that likes singing the song and you get 3 or 4 guys, all of a sudden you got free product. And it's great for me because I get new customers, and I reciprocate to my ambassadors that I give them a discount too. So it's just a way that you can earn free stuff for doing what most people are doing anyway, which is telling other people about Infinit.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that, again, those programs are just getting quite big, and it's good. I mean, we've got a really strong community of, I think we're a pretty true brand, kind of people know what we're about. It's kind of, we are who we are.
Right. I like that. I think the team that I'm on is the performance team, because I did have to apply for it, sent in an email, and there was a conversation back and forth. And then I don't know if I'd say admitted or granted, but I'm on that team.
Well, so good. We don't take everybody, and that's not all about speed too. We want the right people representing the company and the community, and so it's not like we're, but we want to make sure that we have a good group of folks out there, and I think we've managed to do that. And that's from our pros. I mean, between Andy Potts and Matt Russell and Kirsten and a lot of our top pros. I just don't know if we could have better people. We've got really good folks that represent us, so it's awesome.
Good. So it's funny that you mentioned that the Matt Russell and the AJ Bracco. Actually, I've reached out to both of them also to do interviews. Haven't heard back from them yet. I'm with Daytona coming up on Sunday. I'm sure they're both pretty busy. So
yeah. I mean, both good. Matt salt of the earth, and Mr. Potts. Other than being a University of Michigan guy, I really like him a lot.
I guess I can understand that, knowing what I know.
Yeah, well,
it happens. It's the sport of sport, It
is. No, I mean, I think we're just lucky that we don't have a lot of the drama. We don't, it's we're pretty normal around here. It's good.
It seems like, I guess I wasn't sure of the size of your company. Earlier you said you had 15 employees. I didn't realize that. I guess the presence that you have and the presence that the website kind of puts forth, and with the Facebook group and with Matt and the other pros that you'd mentioned, it just has the presence of a much larger company. I guess I didn't realize that there was only 15 employees.
Oh, we're small.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still a little teeny tiny. Now, 5 years from now, hopefully I won't be, but yeah, we're still small. I'm still pushing a rock uphill. It's never, you look at the bike manufacturers, and those guys, rise to the top and they fall down, rise to the top and they fall down. I mean, I just want to be on that pretty steady growth plane where eventually, we're going to just keep continuing to gain market share and continually get larger. And I think just showing up to work every day and not trying to hit the grand slam home run. We hit a lot of singles and doubles around here, and I think that tends to work a little bit better.
I think that's definitely an important outlook to have, to know that the consistent progress over a long period of time versus like that one, winning the lottery. Of course, it's great, but consistent progress is better.
Yeah, you're too young to remember this, but there was a company called G-Push, which was 1990-ish, and they had a different type of carbohydrate, which was a mushroom carbohydrate, which is low osmotic pressure. It's actually a really good carbohydrate. And they put hundreds of thousands of dollars into sponsoring one race.
Huh.
And the company lasted 1 year.
Wow.
And it's just, it's those all are, what I've tried to run the company, and this is going to sound simple, but the way I've run the company is to avoid the headshot.
Okay.
That's kind of it. Avoid the headshot. And as I was a banker for 15 years, so I've seen it. And
okay,
there are certain situations which are the headshot, which is if it doesn't work, you got a problem. And I tend to avoid those situations, not just, there's a lot of opportunities to do a lot of different things as long as you don't do the one that's going to be the death blow. And I see it all the time with companies.
Okay.
They'll do certain things and I'm like, ooh, it's just dicey.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine you said you've been in business for a while now, so you kind of have a knack for seeing the things are going to be that headshot, as you said. So it's important to know what to look for.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, you can overcome a lot of mistakes, but you've got to be careful of the mistake that literally is going to take you out. And so far, knock on wood,
going strong still.
So
okay. So I guess I wanted to ask, I mentioned earlier, so my podcast it's in the personal development and personal improvement. With doing what you do and for as long as you have, do you have any tips that you'd like to give the show about kind of not necessarily business specific, but things that you can do that kind of help you obviously get through the day as a CEO?
Yeah. So what I've tried to do is build a culture and not worry about the money.
Okay.
If that makes sense, is that it's important to me that I like where I work. It's important to me that I like the group that I work with. It's important to me that the group likes where they work. It's important to me that my employees, like who they're working with. And so, what we've managed to do is build a culture here that we work hard, in early, stay late, work on the weekends. There's a strong work ethic, but it's not, I want people to have family. I want people to enjoy what they're doing. If they need to take time off, I want to be supportive of that. And I think over the long term, the only way that you can, unless you're browbeating people, which I'm not, that's not my MO. I don't work that way, is that I'll get mad sometimes, but I'm not that person that's just a slave driver. If without that, you've got to have people that want to come to work, that like work and that actually like they're doing. So, I don't think you got to have a decent idea. And then at the end of the day, it's just all about working hard. It's about not listening to other people, doing what you feel in your gut. And I've had so many people saying, oh, you need to go and do this, and you need to go do this. And they're all kind of right. But if you start listening to too many people, it's a recipe disaster. So I tend to be focused. I tend to, rather than trying to be everything to everybody, we try to go after smaller groups because I know I can throw a net over them and I know I can hit them with multiple messaging because I go after certain targeted groups. Not being a generalist really helps, I think, because it gives you an identifiable personality. And then it's just, waking up, just getting here early and staying late. It ain't rocket science. I mean, I generally work, either Saturday or Sunday or both, and I'm fine doing that. I like it. It's good.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine with that much of a workload, really loving what you do and enjoying what you do it makes it less difficult. I mean, it's still challenging just to work that sheer amount of hours, but if you enjoy it and you like what you do, then it's not so much, the quote unquote work.
Yeah. And my role's changed here as we continue to grow. My role is less and less hands-on, which I'm not, I don't like that. But I have really good people, so I have to trust them and they do a great job. So my role is I'm not in the trenches like I was a couple years ago, which is drives me a little bit crazy. Um, but I still, I love going to expos. I love talking to potential customers. It's I can do that 4 days straight, and I love it. My voice gets a little bit tired, but going out and just being with whatever the group is for a few days is fantastic. And I'm looking forward to getting out and doing that again soon.
Yeah, I would imagine you would have to be kind of a people person, especially with you starting it. You had to be a people person in the beginning to make the connections, to find the right staff, to hire, to find customers and connect with them, to make them kind of connect with you and connect with the company. So
Yeah,
I can definitely relate to that and see that.
Yeah, we did originally kind of a lot of marketing around me, and I'm never really that comfortable with that. So I've kind of transitioned away from, Michael-centric marketing to more Infinit brand. But having said that, I've still been doing this for 15 years. So you get a lot of people at the end like, "Oh, you're Michael from Infinit." I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, if you only knew." It's not that big a deal, I swear. But people are super nice, and the stories that people tell me about, it's like, "Oh my God, you changed my life." And I was like, "All right, that's awesome. I'm so glad for you." But you know,
I've never experienced that, but I imagine that's a really, really heartwarming and humbling experience to hear
it
that
is.
someone you've changed their life.
Yeah, I don't understand how I did, or I don't necessarily agree that I did, but they seem to think so. So that's cool.
Well, I think if people are saying that to you, you're definitely on the right track.
Yeah.
So, which is
No.
great.
Yeah.
You mentioned the expos actually earlier. I meant to mention this earlier, but so with Daytona coming up on Sunday, Challenge Daytona, will you be there? Or will you have an Infinite booth set up, or just that's nope? Okay.
No. I mean, I've got to we got to wait and I got to wait and see. And expos have to kind of open back up before I'm going to go back out. And they're expensive. I mean, it's not. I mean, we're talking $5,000 to go down for the weekend and do the expo and everything, and it's just not. It's just not the right time. I'm chomping at the bit. I think probably the very first one is going to be Triple T next year. So
Okay.
that's a May date. So please come down for Triple T if you know what Triple T is, right?
I don't actually know.
Okay, Triple T is, if it's not the hardest race in the country, it's pretty darn close. So it's
Okay.
Ironman distance over 3 days, super sprint on Friday night, 2 Olympic distances on Saturday, and then a half Ironman on Sunday.
Wow.
For an Olympics is, and it's so hard. It's really hilly. It's phenomenal training. So if you want to just come and train for the weekend, it's great. But it's in a state park. We all rent cabins, so it's all set in a state park, and everybody camps out. Potts is going to be there. Matt Russell was there last year. I think we're going to have 500 to 700 racers this year, but it's a really fun. So the super sprints, like 200-meter swim, 5K bike, and like a 1K run. And then it's a time trial swim start in the morning. You go swim, bike, run, and then you do a bike time trial start. So you go bike, swim, run for the second Olympic on Saturday.
Okay.
And then Sunday is just a straight half Ironman, and it's a great race. So that'll be probably the first race on our calendar. They have their permits, so that race is definitely happening.
Okay.
And I think that'll be the first event that we'll probably go out to is Triple T down in Ohio.
I don't think at where I'm at currently on my journey that I have the endurance to do those events consecutively in that order. Definitely sounds like fun and something I might try to work up to quick before May, but I don't know. We'll see.
The thing is, you can just train through that too. It's not
Yeah.
like you have to race it. And anybody that was doing Triple T, I would absolutely tell them, go easy Friday and go easier on Saturday, and then you're still going to be beat up on Sunday, so don't worry about it.
Right. Yeah.
Go easy.
Good. I'll keep that in mind if I come to making it to Triple T.
Triple T. Everybody
Okay.
should do it at least once.
Well, I think this is actually going to be my longest podcast episode. Usually they're pretty short.
I can talk. You know, you want to do a 2-hour episode sometime? Give me a ring. We can talk about it. Not a problem.
I'm definitely going to keep you on the docket to do this again sometime. This was fun.
Good.
Well, that's pretty much it. I didn't have anything else that I wanted to ask about or to bring up. So is there anything that you wanted to talk about, or anything you wanted to put out there into the show?
No, I appreciate you calling. Welcome to the team. I'm really happy. I'm looking forward to meeting you sometime. What kind of red bike is that I'm looking at behind you?
Oh, that behind me is, so it's a funny story, actually. I'm not sure. I bought it off Amazon probably 5 or 6 years ago.
Is it a track?
It's a GMC Denali.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who made it? It can't be. It's not a GMC Denali.
No. So I found out why. I took it to a bike shop to get it, fixed and cleaned.
Huh?
And it's a Trek frame.
Right.
But when they made it specifically as a sale perk when they were selling the GMC Denali.
Oh, that's so cool.
So it's like it's a one-off that nobody bought. So it made it to Amazon, and then I bought it, and now I use it for indoor training.
Nice. That's good. I was looking at it, and I'm like, that sure looks like Trek tubes to me.
Yep. So it's a Trek frame, and I think mostly everything else is Shimano, but otherwise it's.
That's awesome.
It does the job for my indoor training, so that's nice. I don't really have a nice outdoor bike quite yet, and then behind the bike is a treadmill. Just got to run.
Well, I think we've got Venom as a sponsor, right?
Yes, yeah.
So I think there's some deals out there on the Venom line, and I've heard those bikes are really nice too. So
yeah. I'm looking forward to their triathlon bikes, and hopefully I can get a ride on those. And actually, that you mentioned that, I have an interview with Venom next week, Wednesday.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so I'll get a chance to talk to, I think it was Dia or Deo. It's D. Yeah. Interview with them. Talk to the company, talk all about bikes. So I'm really looking forward to that one. But as far as getting one of their bikes, hopefully soon. Hopefully before I get to a race.
Talk to Baco.
Okay.
AJ.
Yeah.
AJ will give you the hookup.
Wonderful. All right. I did get the link about what was it? The athlete informational page where it has all the partnerships and the links to discounts. So I do have that. Wonderful. Well, I think that's going to conclude the show for today. So usually I kind of wrap it up. So if anyone from the podcast wanted to find Infinit or to get a hold of you, is it just going to go through Google and just type in Infinit, or is there a better way to do it?
No, infinitnutrition.us. Infinit does not have an E on it, so it's INFINIT.
Okay.
Go to Google. The easiest way, just go check out the website, take a look at what we do. If you don't want to know anything, if you don't care about knowing anything, you just want to let us do all the work, just schedule a consult. I have sports nutritionists that with letters after the name that will call you. That is a free service. And it's really simple to do. So it's pretty easy, and you'll be obviously a full money back guarantee. So we'd love to have everybody's business.
Wonderful. All right. Well, guys, thanks for tuning into the show today. This was the Just Go For It podcast. I'm your host, Pearson, and special guest, Michael Folan, CEO of Infinit. Best way to get a hold of me right now is on Instagram at Just Go For It podcast, all one word. If you have any questions or curious about the show or previous episodes or future episodes, let me know. And thanks for tuning in today, guys. Have a great day.
See you.
And that's it.
Nice.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me. I really appreciate it. And
anytime.
Like I said, too, I'd like to look forward to the future, and maybe we'll have another interview down the road.
Yeah, we'll come to Triple T. We'll talk in person. And don't think Triple T, you don't have to race Triple T. Triple T is the perfect opportunity to just get mileage.
Okay.
In a really good form. And I think a lot of the Infinit team will be there too.
Okay.
So it's in down just southeast of Columbus. So it's probably not more than how far up in the state are you?
Just south of Grand Rapids.
So it's not a terrible drive.
Nope, not bad. I think I've been to Columbus actually. So I'll say my past life when I was a bodybuilder, I went to the Arnold convention, which is actually held in Columbus, Ohio.
I've been there many times.
Yeah, I think it was around a 4.5 or 5 hour drive.
Yeah, so you're going to be a 6 hour drive to go to Triple T.
Yeah, so not terrible, not terrible at all. I'll definitely see if I can make it. I try to convince the wife, and we'll bring the 3 kids.
Well, no, that's the thing. Go bring the kids because you can rent a cabin. There's a lodge. There's a big state lodge that you could get a room. Then the wife can go to the pool with the kids. You can go do your thing. They can come down and watch you for a little bit. It's the perfect family thing. Is that the kids have tons to do,
Okay.
and they don't. And it doesn't have to be centered around your racing, which is great.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's going to help in my negotiation process. No,
I'm trying to
it's for
help
you,
a brother
darling.
out. I'm trying to help a brother out.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
All righty, buddy.
All right, you have a good day.
Thanks. We'll see you soon, face to face.
Yeah, bye.
All right. See ya.